We're standing here in Charleston, South Carolina on the Battery, where slavery began.
We believe in our roots and where we came from, and we want to just see it continue.
Gullah is something that, in my mind, exists before the institution of slavery.
When you stand up for what you believe is right, you better be ready, because there's going to be all kinds of people stand up.
So all that you see is what they want you to see.
Hi, I am Godfrey K. Hill, and this is my story. I am Gullah Geechee, Charleston native. And this documentary is about the history that we've always been hearing about in the #1 city for tourism, which is our history. Now, this documentary has a lot of Bible verses because the Bible is the #1 source. There are many sources, but the main source is the Holy Bible. It's the King James 1611 Apocrypha Holy Bible. It's the Holy Bible and the Charleston Tour Guide Manual. So again, I use many different sources, but the main source is the Holy Bible, and then there's the Charleston Tour Guide Manual, which is significant for Charleston's history. So those are the two main sources, and throughout the documentary you're going to see Bible verses, all from the King James Version of the Bible, and there are a lot of scriptures, so you just see the verse, and then if you like you can do the research and pull up the whole and get the full understanding. But this is going to give you the actual information on the Gullah culture. The history has been hidden, but now is the time that the curse has been ended and the chains have been broken. So healing begins with the conversation. So we're going to talk about the Gullah Geechee culture, and we're going to see some actual historical and biblical facts and sources to prove the point.
Getting a license as a tour guide, if you're black, you have to take this test that's like culture, gender bias, and if you don't have the information and access to successfully pass tourism board, they make it hard for black tourists and black businesses to get these licenses to come to the front and represent Charleston. So all that you see is what they want you to see.
For more than 40 years, the slave master's perspective has totally mastered and colored my Gullah Geechee.
I like to see whites and blacks get along together because we're all the same. Ain't nobody no different from the next person.
How can we heal unless we talk?
Why hasn't this story been addressed until now? It's because who writes history books?
I am Godfrey K. Hill, Gullah Jack of Ashleyville, the only Charleston native Gullah Geechee guide in the Holy City.
I sing this one and that now. Soon and very soon, we're going to see the King. Mm-hmm. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Mm-hmm. We're going to see the King.
Soon and very soon, we are going to see the King.
Praise God.
Hallelujah.
Praise God. There's another song.
We're standing here in Charleston, South Carolina on the Battery, where slavery began for the city on April the 10th, 1670, on a ship called the Carolina, coming in through the Atlantic Ocean and then right on up the Ashley River. The first slaves were brought in to the holy city. Today is on its 10th year in a row for the #1 city in the world for this history, yet no one talks about it. So we're going to take a little tour around this city and we're going to talk about that history. What is Gullah Geechee truly here in Charleston? What is Gullah? Gullah is the secret blood connection to Jesus Christ and the slaves. 1353 Hebrew proves that Gullah is ancient Hebrew for redemption, and Jesus Christ is the Redeemer. So Gullah is the origin Hebrew, redemption, the blood connection to Jesus Christ and these slaves, the Gullah people.
We believe in our roots and where we came from, and we want to just see it continue. So we don't always understand each other. Some of the folks have moved from speaking the Gullah language, but when you come together, it's a thing that automatically comes back together, and we have to remind each other sometimes. Remember, we came from the same table, we came from the same experience, so let's continue to knit together. And I just love our way of doing things. We believe in sharing. Even when we were growing up, my grandparents did sharecropping and so forth and so on, and we still believe today if one don't have, then you help that one. And these are just things that will help you to be successful in life if you hold on to it and don't let it fall apart.
We went around Charleston asking some of Charleston's tour operators the question.
I'm a social activist is what I am, but in Charleston, I'm a notary public and a licensed tour guide. That makes me a certified agent of the truth and your ambassador to a greater understanding and a good time when you come into my city. We tell stories to you when you get here, but it's not the one you're prepared for. Oh, you can hear those stories if you want to, but not if you come this way. We talk about America and the truth about how we born and what we are doing right now. Why hasn't this story been addressed until now? It's because who writes history books? It's the patriarchal culture around the planet Earth. Now, on this side of the planet, it's the old white man, but it's a red, yellow, black, and white patriarchal culture. And when an old man writes his history book, he writes out his stupidity, his ignorance, his criminality, and then he shapes the narrative to support his times. And this story does not support the times.
What is your name?
My name is Michael Juhasz.
And Michael, what do you do for a living?
I'm a tour guide in the city of Charleston and surrounding plantations.
Are you certified?
No longer.
I'm no longer certified.
I am no longer certified.
You work on the plantations.
I do.
Certified tour guide, a tour guide, certified. You had your own tour operation?
Yes, I operated my own business, and before that I was in the industry for 20 years.
How'd you get into business?
I was born into it. My mother, I was born into the business. My mother started one of the first bus tour companies in Charleston. I do a slavery tour on a plantation along the Ashley River. When people come to this city looking for the true history of Charleston, they are given one side of the story. Some true, some embellished, mostly false.
Why?
Well, it doesn't conform to the image the city wants to portray itself as. It's a fairy tale, it's a mint julep version of history, which sells the genteelness and chivalry of Southern gentlemen, but doesn't speak to the violent nature.
For more than 40 years, the slave master's perspective has totally mastered and colored my Gullah Geechee.
I like to see whites and blacks get along together because we're all the same. Ain't nobody no different from the next person.
How can we heal unless we talk?
Why hasn't this story been addressed until now? It's because who writes history books?